manage relative to communication. So if I have 5 team members, counting myself, I go 5 times 5 minus 1, which is 20. So 5 times 4 is 20, divided by 2 gives me 10 communication channels. Now within those 10 communication channels, I got to manage at the coffee pots, at the water fountains, emails afterwards, phone calls afterwards, all this noise that comes outside of my projects. I got to manage those as the project manager. So let's say now I have me some more members I added. 2 more team members, making it a total of 7. That gives me communication channels of 21. So adding 2 team members more than doubled the communication channels I have to manage. Look, if I had 9 members altogether, I got 36 channels to manage. I can't manage that many communication channels. Get your team small. If somebody's not adding to your project team, get them the heck out of the project team. If they're sitting back here throwing grenades, causing problems with your organization, get them out of the project team. Send them packing. Get the right team, the right amount of people to be successful with your projects. Solution, prioritize your projects from the top down. If they can't prioritize the projects, none of them are important. We need strong steering committees. Train our project managers, empower those trained project managers, manage that triple constraint, communicate effectively, constant improvement through that progressive elaboration, getting smarter and smarter as we dig deeper, and throw those templates away and get busy with new innovation. I'm Jeff Mender with Victory Vets, and that is the truth about project failures.
Step 3 involves creating the work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure is really a map or a drawing with hierarchy that shows the products and the various work elements within the project. You see the relationship between the final deliverable of the project and all the individual sub-deliverables, and ultimately down to the lowest level work package where work actually gets done. This formalized structure is best suited for design and build projects that have tangible outcomes rather than process projects like software projects and some of the things that are a little harder to define for whatever reason. We don't know enough information getting into the project. But many projects, the work breakdown structure is the best way to organize and understand where the project's going, and from that leads to all sorts of good things like estimating costs and time. This is a good example of one line of a work breakdown structure. Of course, we have our top level project, and you might have multiple deliverables and multiple sub-deliverables within each deliverable, and eventually we'll boil down to the lowest sub-deliverable, and that's that lowest management responsibility level. Maybe it's the testing group, or maybe it's the copywriting group within marketing, depending on the type of project. So we can actually have a management structure for that work that's going to be done and specifically identify who or what needs to be done within that lowest level management responsibility structure. So getting down to the work package, maybe it's running a test on a circuit board, or maybe it's writing a marketing piece for a bigger marketing project. The work breakdown structure helps the project manager by letting you figure out cost and time and technical performance of how we're going to run this project. It gives management the information they need to figure out what the project's all about, who's going to be involved, what the impact is on the organization. It allows you to assign the work, especially if you're in a matrix organization where you're going to have to lay this project over the organizational structure to figure out who's going to be doing what. Of course, we can use the work breakdown structure to plan, schedule, and budget the project, and literally helps us start create communication channels and communication and responsibility matrix for the various parts of the project. Here's a really good example of a portion of a work breakdown structure. It's for a personal computer. You can see the highest level deliverables of this personal computer prototype are software, interface devices like mouses and keyboards, disk storage units, microprocessor units, and what you'll see is just one small part of it being completely broken down to the lowest work package level. So looking at the disk storage units, we've got all sorts of things that are going to store data for us. A floppy drive, yes, this is a little old, an optical drive like a CD-ROM, and then our hard drive. So let's get down to the hard drive. And so we have a motor group that manages the motors for hard drives. We got a group that's responsible for circuit boards. We got a group that does chassis frames for their hard drives, and we've got someone who's responsible for the read-write head at the lowest management level. And then we can actually see what work is going to get done within that smaller infrastructure. If you look at, looks like we got one work package for the motor, and so that might imply that we're going to buy one from a vendor, and that work package just involves procurement. We have 7 work packages for the circuit board, and we've coded them with a CB, meaning circuit board. We've got 3 work packages for the chassis frame and 5 for the read-write head. So you can see all the tasks. There's a total of 17 tasks required just for the hard drive to be completed. So within the work breakdown structure at that lowest level is really where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. It's the work, or it's that output-oriented work that defines what's going to be done, how long it's going to take, what it's going to cost, what type of resources are required, who's going to do the work, and if it's a monitoring point, we could use as a milestone. If it's something, if the successful procurement of the motor lets us do a lot of other work, then that might be something we might want to identify as being something worth identifying and monitoring as part of our project management process. All right, so we've gone ahead and we've created a work breakdown structure, and we're in a hybrid matrixized organization, so we've got to figure out how we're going to get this work done. And so we'll lay the work breakdown structure over the organizational breakdown structure to figure out where things fit. It will identify who's going to be responsible for work packages, and it will give us a way to tie all the organizational units to our cost control accounts so that we can actually monitor the level of effort put forth in the project versus work being done otherwise by these same individuals that aren't project related. In this slide we can see how we've overlaid the organizational breakdown structure over the work breakdown structure. We still have our top to bottom work breakdown structure of the personal prototype computer from before, and we've overlaid just within the hard drive work that's going to be done who's going to be responsible for which part of the hard drive work. Now we can see that in the case of the motor, we have someone within purchasing that's going to buy a motor based on engineering specifications. That's why there was only one work package there. The 4 work packages for the circuit board, the design group, the production group, the testing group, and the software group. Some of them are manufacturing, some of them might be in engineering, as it looks like the way the organization is structured. And so that's how you read that. And so you can see the challenges of a hybrid organization where we've got to actually figure out within our structure how this work's going to get done. Probably one of the biggest causes of project delays and project failures is integrating this work within the organizational structure. So after we've gone ahead and done our work breakdown structure, figured out how that's going to work within our organization, we want to code the work breakdown structure so we can create cost accounts and be able to track the project and understand what actually occurred throughout the project, what's going on at any point in time. Allows for budgeting and cost information to be created, and allows for report consolidation within the organizational structure. So we want to be able to code the work breakdown structure and then use those codes to allow for our accounting enterprise system to capture that data. So what you're seeing here is a way to code a work breakdown structure. And in fact, what you're seeing here is another way to represent a WBS. The WBS, the work breakdown structure you saw earlier, was almost like an organizational chart diagram. And this is a work breakdown structure done in outline form with the coding already included. So you can see the top level computer project is given the 1.0 designation. Our main deliverables are identified by 1.1 disk storage unit. 1.2 would be another main deliverable, 1.3 down the line. And as we start going deeper and deeper to the lowest work package, we can see that our account numbers get somewhat complicated, but you can always roll up and understand from the account number where you're at in the project. So anything with a 1.1 is clearly for disk storage units. Anything with 1.1.3 relates to the hard drive, and so on. So it's a really nice way of organizing and allowing for structure to occur for tracking of the costs associated with the project. Within highly matrixized organizations, you really need to identify who's responsible for what. And so many organizations within the course of creating the project documentation will also create what's called a responsibility matrix. Sometimes they're called linear responsibility charts, but basically identifies who's supposed to do what. It lists the activities and the participants, clarifies where communication or coordination needs to take place, provides a way for everyone to see what's going on, a nice open atmosphere where it's clear we can see what work needs to be done and who's doing it. And it also shows a level of authority that individuals might need for the work to take place. Here's just one example of a responsibility matrix for a market research project. All the tasks are listed out, individuals on the project team are identified, and we have who's responsible for a particular task and who provides support or assist on that task. So it's pretty clear who the responsible person then can gather the resources they need and the support they need to get the work done. On this last slide, you can see another example for a responsibility matrix. This one deals with the conveyor belt project. In fact, it's the conveyor belt project in the back of your book. Here you can see that we haven't identified individuals, but functional units within the organization and their responsibilities for this conveyor belt project. This particular responsibility matrix has lots of extra information, identifies who's responsible, who's supposed to support that particular task or deliverable, who's consulting, who's requires notification, and who's responsible for approving and moving forward with the project. So it throws a lot of extra information out there. This is the last slide for Chapter 4. It concludes the asynchronous recorded lecture. You have lots of tasks to do. If you haven't done them already, be sure to take a look at what else is required for week number